Hello, welcome again. So we are in business communication. Today we are going to talk about communicating more effectively on the job. So everybody has the desire who are professionals. They really want to communicate well and perfect because we have already understood that communication is the lifeblood of business organization. So communicating more effectively in business is very important concept. So how today we'll deal how we can communicate effectively in business. That is how we can make our communication perfect and professionals. There are some ways and some procedures through which we can do that one. We should be very careful about some sort of aspects which are very important to make our communication more effective and professional. So the first one is process of communication. Communication is the sharing of ideas, information, opinion, feelings, and attitudes. So when we share the ideas, so it starts from one place to another, it goes to the another place. It starts from one person to another person. It starts at one time and goes to the another place, another person, in another time. So when we share the information, obviously there should be a sender and message, and there should be a receiver. Sender may be speaker or writer, and receiver can be listener or reader. So if we want to make our communication effective, we should make the communication process effective and accurate. We should understand the communication process. There are mainly 6 key: sender, receiver, message, method, aim, and situation. So let's go to the one by one. Sender or transmitter. The person who desires to convey the message is known as sender. The sender initiates the message and changes the behaviors of the receiver. The sender has an idea. So in communication process, and he sends the message to the receiver, and he brings the change in the behaviors of the receiver. So the second point is message. Message is the subject matter, is the information or opinions that the sender has, and it should be accurate to the level of the audience and its listeners. So message should be appropriate and should be based on the need and interest of the listeners and receiver. That's the very important thing. So sender and message. And the third process is encoding. So we have the message, we should encode it into words or into symbols. Encoding is another process, is another step of communication process. In encoding, the sender encodes, changes the message into either words or signs or symbols. For example, I'm happy. Since now I am happy, so if I smiled, then I changes my happiness into smiling. That is called encoding. And if I am hungry and I said I'm feeling hungry and I said I'm hungry, then the word hungry is encoded the message that I am hungry. So it is very popular in electronic engineering. Encoding process is changing message into different codes. Communication channel. The sender has to select the channel for sending the information. Communication channel is the media through which the message passes. It is the link that connects sender and receiver. So channel is the path, communication channel. So to make our communication effective, we should select the appropriate channel. Channel may be face-to-face, channel may be radio, TV, cell phone, and whatever. These are the very important things that we need to go through. Receiver. The person who receives the message is called receiver, or receiver is the person to whom a particular message is sent by the sender. So the receiver receives the message and understand the message. So the sender encodes the message. For example, the sender encodes the message into symbols or words, and the receiver decodes the message to understand those codes. So first is changing the message into code, that is encoding, and the second one is changing the code into message, that is called decoding. So decoding is under receiver. So receiver actually decodes the message. For example, if I'm smiled, then the receiver understand that I'm happy. If I show my anger by some shout or scolding somebody, then that is the encoded form of my anger, and the receiver decodes it into my anger and understand the message. Feedback. In communication channel, feedback plays very vital role. Many people believe that when the receiver decodes the message and understand the communication process is over. No, it is not the case. So to make our communication effective, we should, as a sender, we should understand, we should take the feedback from the receiver, how they are understanding it, how they take it. So it is very important concept that everybody has to understand. So feedback is very important to make our communication alive, and to it is mainly very helpful to the sender, so that he understands what happens to the receiver after receiving that message, whether the intended meaning is understood, interpreted by the receiver or not. For example, if I say I miss her, so it means even though I have not pronounced the sentence I miss you, but the receiver is going to understand I miss you because he interprets what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that I miss you, but I just say that I miss you, and receiver understand that I miss you. That's very important things. And in English, most of the words, for example, minor word class are not pronounced properly. They are half pronounced, or sometimes they are not pronounced. For example, and receiver understand that I miss you. That's very important things. And in English, most of the words, for example, minor word class are not pronounced properly. They are half pronounced, or sometimes they are not pronounced. For example, I'd like to go to Pokhara. So here, would is pronounced like do, and receiver understand that I miss you. That's very important things. And in English, most of the words, for example, minor word class are not pronounced properly. They are half pronounced, or sometimes they are not pronounced. For example, I'd like to go to Pokhara. So here, would is pronounced like do, and we are waiting you for a long time. Here, or is pronounced is are, but the listener is going to understand this. So that we understand through the feedback. The receiver, most of the time express that feedback by nodding their heads, smiling their faces, and saying that verbally also, I understand the message and something. So the next one is brain drain. Brain drain is possible in the whole process. So it's a noise, it's the disturbance, if it is lower, then our communication becomes more effective, and if it is higher, then it becomes less effective. So we should be very careful about brain drain. It may arise on sender side if they do not choose the adequate channel, and it may arise when receiver doesn't properly decode the message. So it may be on both sides. In sender side, if channel is not appropriately selected and the receiver has not decoded it properly, then the noise can become the part of the disturbance in the whole communication process. To make our communication effective and professional, we should consider the whole communication process, because there are various aspects they deal in the process, and they should coordinate each other. For example, only one aspect, if it is not properly maintained, properly operated, then whole communication process may go wrong. Thank you very much. Thank you.